Prince Harry wasn't even supposed to be on a plane that night. He wasn't planning to return to the UK at all this month. But the second whispers reached Montecito that the palace had quietly started the process to strip the Duke and Duchess of Sussex of their royal titles, everything changed in a heartbeat. Not gossip, not speculation. Action. When Harry's team got word, the mood in the room shattered. Phones rang, aides panicked, PR managers froze. Plans they'd built for months dissolved into chaos. And amid that storm of voices, one order cut through Harry's. Get me to London. Now, there was no press release, no clever spin, no rehearsed statement. He didn't want pity or control. He wanted confrontation. One-on-one. Before the palace's decision became permanent, within hours, a private jet was fueled. No Meghan, no kids, just Harry alone, racing toward the kingdom he'd once fled. But the most shocking part? The man he's desperate to reach isn't King Charles, it's William. And that single detail tells us where the real power now lies. For months, insiders have whispered about a quiet shift within Buckingham Palace, a transfer of power. Charles, aging and weary, has allegedly softened into a gentler rhythm of royal life. He avoids confrontation, preferring calm over conflict. But William has changed. He's no longer waiting in the shadows of the throne. Behind palace walls, staff now call this the pre-succession era. That's code for William is already calling the shots. He runs the crisis meetings, he signs off on major decisions. He shapes the monarchy's image. For those close to him, he's not behaving like the heir anymore. He's acting like the king, and he's determined to clean the rot out of the royal house once and for all. Because in William's mind, the never-ending Sussex drama has gone on long enough. For Harry, that realization is terrifying. The brother who once defended him is now the one holding the axe. While Harry races across the Atlantic, William is quietly assembling an operation not emotional, not impulsive, strategic. Sources say he's gathered a team of legal specialists, experts in royal precedent, constitutional law, and the delicate steps required to remove titles. This isn't vengeance, it's procedure. A plan executed with ice-cold precision. Step 1. Use Prince Andrew as the legal test case. Not for compassion, but to establish a precedent. Parliament has long said only the monarch can strip titles. William wants that power extended to the next monarch. Once that's achieved, the process becomes simple, clean, and irreversible. Step 2. Once Andrew's case sets the stage, apply the same rule to Harry and Meghan. The result? A corporate-style monarchy, efficient, sanitized, and free from scandal. It's ruthless, but it's effective. And Harry knows that once this machine starts turning, no one can stop it. That's why he's on that plane. Because this isn't just about titles, it's about identity, legacy, and survival. Yet, while he races toward London, another storm brews within palace walls, one that has nothing to do with him, but will seal his fate. It begins, of all people, with Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson. For weeks, whispers about the Epstein saga have returned uglier, darker, more detailed than before. This time, insiders claim there are emails possibly connecting Andrew not just socially but financially to Epstein. Even Scotland Yard, according to some murmurs, may have been manipulated to discredit Virginia Roberts, one of Epstein's accusers. If there's even a drop of truth in that, it's a bomb under the monarchy. And then there's Fergie allegedly having accepted over £2 million from Epstein, possibly over many years. Some claim his quiet support kept her afloat for a decade and a half. To William, this isn't scandal, it's rot. Rot inside the walls of the very institution he's preparing to inherit. He sees the monarchy bleeding credibility. He sees the press circling like sharks. And he knows if the royal family can't clean itself, he'll have to. That's the moment everything changes. That's the domino that topples toward Harry's downfall. When Harry heard that William wasn't just angry, but already drafting paperwork, something in him broke. Gone was the casual Californian dad. Gone was the confident memoir writer. Gone was the cheeky royal rebel. What was left was a man terrified of disappearing from history. He refused all official channels, no aides, no lawyers, no emails. He wanted to see William face to face. But William wasn't interested in emotion. Not anymore. He wanted discipline, proof. As one insider reportedly said, William doesn't want an explanation, he wants an example. Meaning, if Harry wants mercy, he must undo the last 4 years, pull back from every public jab, stop the memoirs, distance himself from Meghan's Hollywood ventures, stop using royal branding, and above all, return to being the quiet, dutiful prince he once was. It's not a request, it's an ultimatum. And Harry knows William isn't bluffing. The legal process is already underway. And once the palace removes your title, there is no coming back. That's why he's flying home alone in the middle of the night, because every mile feels like a countdown to the erasure of everything he ever was. Meanwhile, back in Buckingham Palace, another man sits silently in his office, King Charles, a stack of papers before him, his expression carved with pain. He wears 2 crowns, one of gold, one of grief. Behind those palace walls, Charles is waging private wars, illness, stress, and the unbearable truth that his 2 sons, once inseparable, now stand on opposite sides of a royal battlefield. To his left, the weight of tradition. To his right, the ache of a father watching his youngest spiral. But the pressure on Charles is heavier than love. Government officials, sources say, have warned him bluntly the monarchy cannot survive another scandal, not another blow to its credibility. If he fails to stabilize the crown's image, the government may intervene constitutionally, a nightmare for any king. So Charles looks at William, decisive, focused, unflinching. Then at Harry, emotional, impulsive, unpredictable. And he understands the cruel truth every monarch eventually learns. The crown only survives when the individual sacrifices. He knows what he must do. But knowing doesn't make it easier. As Harry's jet cuts through the night sky, he isn't just flying toward London, he's flying toward the final judgment of who he is. Because if the titles go, everything changes. He won't be His Royal Highness. He won't be the Duke of Sussex. He'll simply be Henry Charles Albert David Mountbatten Windsor, a name that sounds more like a signature than a destiny. Meghan will become Mrs. Mountbatten Windsor. The fairy tale title gone. And Archie and Lilibet, their prince and princess status is erased. The symbolic shield that once protected them, gone. But it's not just emotional. It's financial. The book deals, the Netflix contracts, the endless invitations. They weren't buying Harry the man. They were buying Harry the prince, the royal shine, the crown's echo. Take that away. And the brand collapses. The deals lose luster. The phone stops ringing. The protection fades. As one palace aide allegedly put it, without their titles, they're just another celebrity couple with a podcast and a past. And that, more than anything, terrifies Harry. Not losing money, but losing meaning. Losing the world he was born into. Losing the legacy his children should have inherited. Because in one pen stroke, it can all disappear. Morning comes to Buckingham Palace. Sunlight spills through the ancient windows. Guards shift their positions. The world outside stretches awake. But inside, a new era has already begun. William stands by his desk, the documents sealed. He isn't the younger brother anymore. He isn't the heir. He's something else entirely, the architect of a new monarchy. He doesn't celebrate. He doesn't smile. He doesn't even look relieved. He just looks ready. Ready to protect the crown, even if it means breaking what's left of his family. Across the ocean, Harry wakes in another world. The royal family has moved on. The doors that once opened for him are locked. The name that once gave him power now belongs to the past. But here's the twist. This isn't the end. It's the beginning of a new chapter in royal history. William rises, colder and sharper than ever, the iron core of a redefined crown. Charles clings to calm, watching the future shift into his eldest son's hands. And Harry must face the mirror without the crown he once escaped from, but now longs to reclaim. Because in the House of Windsor, power doesn't whisper, it reigns. And William, with those steady hands and that quiet storm in his eyes, has proven one thing beyond doubt. He's not waiting for the crown anymore. He's already wearing it. Harry's return to London wasn't a royal visit, it was a storm chasing another storm. The moment his jet touched the runway, his heart sank. He knew he wasn't arriving as a prince coming home, but as a man walking straight into judgment. No cameras were waiting, no cheering crowds, not even a palace car, just a single black vehicle, windows tinted, engine humming like a whisper of warning. As he sat inside, the silence felt heavier than any crown. Every landmark he passed, the bridge, the palace gates, the skyline of the city that once defined him felt different now. Distant, cold, like London itself had decided he was a stranger. At the palace, security moved with quiet efficiency. They didn't bow, they didn't greet him by title. Just a polite, "Good evening, sir." The word "sir" cut deeper than it should have. Inside, the air was still. The halls that once echoed with childhood laughter were now hollow and polished. He walked toward William's private office, each step echoing like a heartbeat. Behind the door, William waited, not in uniform, not in warmth, but in authority. His posture was calm, his face unreadable, his voice steady as stone. "You shouldn't have come without notice," he said. Harry stared at him, searching for even a flicker of the brother who once stood beside him at their mother's funeral. But the man across from him wasn't the boy he remembered. This was the future king, and his loyalty now belonged to the crown, not blood. "I came to talk," Harry said quietly. William didn't blink. "You came too late," the words landed like thunder. In that room, two brothers faced each other as strangers, one pleading for mercy, the other guarding the monarchy like a fortress. William spoke with precision, outlining every decision, every legal step already in motion. There was no anger, no shouting, only finality. For the first time, Harry realized that nothing he said could undo what had already begun. The palace had made up its mind. His fate wasn't in William's hands anymore, it was in ink, sealed, and filed. When he finally left that night, London's rain began to fall, a slow, steady drizzle that soaked through his coat and clung to his skin. The same city that once celebrated him now felt like it was quietly washing him away. And as dawn broke behind the palace gates, one truth became painfully clear: the royal family hadn't exiled him. He had exiled himself.